In today's live stream video, I'm going to discuss with my guest his reselling business, including selling modern and vintage toys. He'll share his tips and strategies to help make us more successful and profitable resellers. Every Wednesday, I have a live stream. I usually interview another reseller and I have them share their tips, tricks, and techniques to help make us more knowledgeable and profitable resellers. So if you are currently a reseller or interested in becoming a reseller, you are in the right place. I'm going to pop in a chat, say hello to a few people, and we shall get started very shortly. I saw earlier Mike Flipping Goodies was in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Mike. Randy, my moderator. Randy, I appreciate you being here and helping out. Hello, Lisa. Good to see you, my friend. And like I said, the notification just went out, so I'm sure people will be filling in very shortly. But as the people that watch my channel know, I don't like to keep the people watching the replay waiting. So I'm going to bring my guest on. And my guest today is Jimmy, Old School Flips. So I'm going to have Jimmy come on and introduce himself to those of you that don't know him and tell us a little bit about himself. So let me bring on Jimmy. Hello, sir.
What's going on?
Great to have you here. Why don't you tell the people that don't know you who you are?
All right, my name is Jimmy. I'm on YouTube, Old School Flips. I do some Instagram under Old School Flips as well. A little bit TikTok under the same name, Old School Flips. I've been a reseller for about 3.5, going on 4 years, full time for 3 years. And I mainly sell on eBay, do a little bit of whatnot. We can talk about that later. And I sell. I kind of got labeled the toy guys because I sell a lot of toys, but I'll sell a lot of different items. But for some reason, toys just came to me naturally, understanding them and how to look them up, and just kind of because I watch a lot of cartoons, and I had sons that watched a lot of cartoons. So yeah, and I have a sister that I grew up with that, and I paid attention to the toys she played with. So yeah, and I love hanging out with people like you, learning from people like you. I love YouTube and learning from YouTube, so that's why I'm here.
Okay, great. Once you get a little bit into your personal, you're in Colorado, in the
Oh
Denver
yeah,
area.
so I live in Colorado, just north of Denver.
Okay.
Married. I have 2 sons. They're older now, 21 and 18.
Okay.
I've been married for 22 years to my wife Sonia. Um,
Congratulations.
I ended up a reseller because medical reasons. I used to be a mechanic.
Okay,
And
that was my
medical
next
reasons.
question. You read my mind. Well, why did you become a reseller? Okay.
If you want, I can go into that.
Yeah, go in now a little bit. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I was a mechanic, and then I had some medical issues with hernias multiple times, and they were like, you know what, you can't do that anymore. And so I went into customer service. Try to tell it quickly. I went into customer service. I hated it, but their e-commerce guy walked out on them. The guy
Okay.
that sold on Amazon and eBay for them, and I was like, let me do that. I want to do that. Let me give it a try. Never done it before in my life. And they made the mistake. This is actually met Adam. They made the mistake of sending me to the eBay Open to learn more about eBay. And what I learned at the eBay Open was how to resell myself, to become a reseller myself. That's my wife right there, Sonia, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, I said
Uh,
hello. I try
in
to
the
say hello to
chat.
everybody that pops in the chat.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello,
And
Sonia.
so,
Great to see you. Congratulations on being married for 22 years. That's quite an accomplishment.
yeah, thank you. And
And
so here I
there's our
am,
other friend from Colorado, Kristen's in the
Kristen. Yeah,
chat.
I met Kristen. Yep.
So
Yeah.
what kind of business was it? That what kind of you said you involved with
So
their
when I
e-commerce?
had to retire as a mechanic, I went to work for another company, and they sold like log splitters, yard equipment, and stuff like that. And
Okay.
I was a phone technician, where when they had problems, they'd call me,
Okay.
help them work through the
So you were
problems.
like technical support for their
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay, the
yeah. Technical,
garden
mechanical
equipment.
support.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and so I went into selling their equipment on eBay, and I did great. Like in my first year, I tripled their sales,
Wow.
and
Okay.
I had never done eBay
I
before
never
in my
done it
life.
before. Okay.
And I did 1.5 million in sales in my first year selling
Wow.
for that company. Yeah, yeah. It was kind of weird because when I went to the eBay Open, everybody was resellers, right? And then I'm here, oh, I work for a company, and everybody's like, whoa, they don't want to talk to me. I don't care that you sell for a company. We're
Right.
looking. I want to talk to another reseller, and that's how I met. That's how I learned about YouTube channels and learned about reselling and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's great. I mean, like, and again, I was you and I tell everybody. I mean, I do a pre-chat, for the show because just the way I like to do things, and be somewhat organized. And again, I'll bring it up again, guys. I was ADD before they knew what ADD was, so I like to try to keep organized. And we're talking about pre-chat, and it was funny. Jimmy came out to say hello to me, and it's like. And I should really write things down or put things on my phone. Now everyone has their phone with them all the time. So, right. Jimmy came up to me and it was craziness. There was people all around. Yeah. He says, "Oh, you're Adam, right? I watch your channel." It's like, "Oh, it's so great to meet you, blah, blah." And so we're doing the pre-chat. He goes, "You remember meeting me?" I said, "I remember meeting you." I was like, "Oh, okay, I do remember now."
Yeah, we met a lot of people in Vegas, right? Like it was a little bit of overload in meeting people.
Yeah, well, it's funny, and again, I network with a lot of people, and you and I were talking, earlier, right? Hung out with Steve Rake and Profit, and Steve had me on his channel. I did an interview, and again, I have a lot of health issues, so Steve was interviewing me about, doing reselling when you have health issues, and of course, you and I have discussed, like, moderated for Casey's the Rockstar Flippers YouTube channel for several years.
Yep.
So Casey was there, and Casey we did an interview. I was at the Mandalay Bay, did an interview there, and Shane Rise and Ryan Picker, and actually kind of sort of met Chris Lee that everyone's talking about because he's gotten banned from eBay. So so it's interesting, and we'll talk a little bit about Whatnot later. But apparently he's going to get involved, pretty heavily in Whatnot. My understanding is, and I've been in his live stream chats a few times. Yeah. I believe it's 9 a.m. Pacific time or 12 noon Eastern time. He's going to be doing Whatnots, I think 4 or 5 days a week.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So that's kind of where he's going with his business. He's trying to keep all his employees, employed, so to speak, and he's going to be involved, pretty heavily with Whatnot. So, but anyway, so I met a lot of neat people there, and eventually I want to get back to Vegas. It's been a long, long time, but and again, guys, please don't take this. It's not political. It's just it's very difficult for me with my health issues to fly and to wear and I wear a mask. Believe me, I wear a mask. But to be on a plane for 3.5, 4 hours with a mask, and then it's difficult. It really is. So I'm hoping maybe I'm thinking hopefully not this fall, maybe next fall. Right. To go back to Vegas. I love Vegas, and I'm single. I'm not involved with anyone, so it's kind of like, and you put your store on vacation mode, and increase your handling time and go away. That's one of the advantages of, like, you and I have discussed that. You said you're going to go into Vegas shortly. When you have a reselling business, you kind of work around your schedule, and like I said. What I did when I was out at eBay Open, I kind of like extended my handling time. I think I started out like 2 weeks. And then when I was there for like a couple days, I made it like a week. And then when I was flying home, I made it like 2 days or something. It was the weekend. I was flying home on the weekend. So I brought it back to my 1 day or 2 day handling time, which I right now I use the 1 day handling time. But so that's what I had done. So anyway. Let's get a little bit in. You and I discussed you're 99% on eBay, and we'll talk a little bit about Whatnot later. But guys, when the chat fills in a little bit more, we're definitely going to get into the toy aspect, and there's a lot of money, according to Jimmy, to be made on modern toys as well as vintage toys. But some people are overlooking modern toys. So when you're out sourcing, keep in mind modern toys, and we're going to get into that a little bit with Jimmy when the chat fills a little bit more. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your reselling business and about your eBay store. Again, the vast majority of my viewers are eBay sellers. At least that's predominantly what they sell on. So you said you sell on eBay and as well as Whatnot. My understanding is you basically sell one-offs, correct? I mean, you pretty much whatever you get your hands on. And
I mean, every once in a while I'll find, like, I happened to be in a Walmart the other day and I found some model kits on clearance. It's not something I do a lot of. So that would be the example of not one-offs. They were on clearance and I bought a bunch of them and selling them on eBay. But for the most part, I'm going to estate sales, yard sales, and the thrift and looking for rare items. Trying to keep the collectibles, for the argument people, I'm just trying to keep collectibles in the hands of the collectors and not in in a what's it called? Trash, in the trash, the landfill.
The landfills, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So like, I'm and I enjoy doing that. Like, I really enjoy hunting for those rare items.
Well, that's the problem too. I mean, everyone, not I would say everyone, the vast majority of us like the treasure hunt. but we don't like to list. But they'll, you and I discuss, if you don't list, you don't sell.
Yeah, you definitely have to have a work ethic to be successful. You have to hope that you have a good work ethic that can, my career as a mechanic taught me that. And so it translated really well. Because as a mechanic, I wasn't the fastest mechanic, so I had to stay busy to keep up with the fast mechanics. And so my thing was to stay busy all the time at work. I was always staying busy, and it translated really well to going to eBay. I try to stay busy all the time, so I don't fall behind, so I don't have a huge death pile, so I do get sales. You know what I mean?
Now, did you? I mean, I was in Johnny's chat, occasionally with Reseller, and hopefully Johnny's will pop in the chat a little bit later, and Bobby, JT, and the Cat Guy will probably be in the chat also because they're doing a show later, so they may be popping in the chat. But he was talking about like blocking out time. I mean, how do you manage your time in your reselling business? How do you make sure? Do you have like a schedule where you do set things?
No,
or how do you do that?
I don't, but I have days I do certain things. Like I go to the thrift on Wednesday. That's the only day I thrift is on Wednesdays.
Okay.
And then during yard sale season, I'm out Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at yard sales. But I just every day I find it when I list on my phone. That way I can sit on my couch. When I'm sitting on my couch, I'm listing, or I'm working on something on social media.
Okay.
So I really don't have a set schedule that I stick to all the time. But you kind of I kind of got into a routine that works for me, I guess you could say.
Right. Okay, but again, you and I had talked. Again, we'll get into it very shortly, guys. But your specialty is basically toys, and you also sell video games. But that's like the I was talking to you pre-chat. When we talked about scheduling what we're going to talk about in the show. It's like I pull up to the yard sales and garage sales, and apparently you have a very very long garage yard sale season. You have a lot of thrift stores, so again, everyone has different opportunities. But I mean, I go to these sales, and again, the old saying, I'm big about these old sayings. The early bird gets the worm.
Right.
If you're not there 20 minutes early, you're late. All these other resellers are pulling up, and I was telling you, I see all these drive-by, video game sellers. Yep. They just pull up in the cars. You have video games, and they just do the drive-by. It's like so. I mean, there's obviously a lot of competition with video games.
Yep, I've seen that a lot. Yep. Get out. Hey, you got any video games? Nope. All right, bye.
They're gone. Yeah. Yep.
But at that same sale, I scooped some stuff that was I scooped some good stuff that they didn't take the time to learn about.
And basically, I'll rehash that a little bit too, guys. And again, I repeat things because there's a reason. Some of these things work well. You try to build up a rapport with the garage sale person, yard sale person, just something simple. Just make a conversation. Try to make eye contact with them. Say, oh, like my last, I told you I went to like a half dozen sales this past Saturday, and an elderly couple was there and running in. And I said, wow, it's really nice it didn't rain last night, so you guys can get set up early and everything's not all wet and damp and the weather's relatively nice. You just have a little conversation, try to build up rapport. And then I only bought like one or two things, but again. They said, and I'm chit-chatting for a long time, but they said that they had a jersey, and I know again, if Bobby pops in the chat, I know he used to sell do a lot with jerseys, athletic jerseys, but they had a price on. I got the guy knock off a couple bucks, but sometimes you can bundle stuff. You can put a bunch of stuff together, and
sometimes
make a deal.
Can lead to big deals that they're like they didn't think they weren't sure if they wanted to put that out in their sale, but you got to talking to them. Maybe told them the stuff you're interested in buying, and they're like, hey, well, I have some of that stuff,
That's the thing, too. A lot of times they're in the house. Like I said, if you go up and you build a rapport with somebody, and I've heard of stories, it might have been Bobby, the JT and the Cap guy, where he said, he didn't see any video games out, in the sale, so to speak.
Yep.
And he said, do you have any video games? And I said, well, yes and no. He says, my son has video games. Let me talk to him. Maybe he wants to sell them. And I think her son was a little bit older, like in his 20s or something. And he apparently lived in a neighborhood or something. She went down and she says, he goes, I'll wait. Again, I'm saying this Bobby. It might not have been Bobby, but I do remember the story. And the woman actually had him come down with a bunch of video games. And the person made a lot of money selling these video games.
I'll tell you what, Bobby finds a lot of video games. I'm jealous of what Bobby finds.
Yes,
on his Instagram, I'm like, dude, Where did you and how did you? Like he finds the competition here in Denver is huge.
Right.
It's pretty huge. So it's I put effort in for sure. They're just hard to find.
Well, SSK Promo says in his area, at yard sales, if you're 20 minutes early, you're actually an hour late.
Yep.
So, I mean, I try to be careful and I try to respect people's time. And, most of the sales around here start at 8 a.m. So, I mean, I try to get there about 20 of, and then I'll kind of look around. Are there any other resellers? And
Right.
I don't move very quickly anymore, but I'll get up there and I'll kind of say, it's all right if I look around. I never just like to hop right in because you can upset people too if you do that. They don't. Some people's like, no, it's 8 o'clock and 8 o'clock sharp. I mean, I was at a yard sale. It was, I went to like 3 or 4 yard sales, and then there was one like 2 blocks from my house, and they were like, no, we're starting at 9 o'clock sharp, and no one's going to go in early. They literally had a bunch of people lined up, and like half of us were resellers.
Yep.
So, and it's like, no, you can't come in till 9 o'clock.
Well, I kind of learned on the other side of things because I had a yard sale this last weekend, and I had some games that I had laying around that weren't worth a bunch of money, and I put them in the yard sale, and I put that I had video games, and this is one thing I found out. About 5 messages. Hey, how much are your games? Can I come and get them now? Like, no, come to the yard sale. But so now that tells me people, if someone puts pictures or mentions video games in their sale, they're getting messages pre-sale.
Again, thanks, SSK. What do again? Guys, I'm bad on names. I try to keep a spreadsheet.
I can
of
help
names.
you with that. So that's Ken. He's actually SSK promo Ken. That's my buddy. He's the one that's doing the podcast with me.
He's doing the podcast. Okay,
Yep.
Appreciate that, Ken. We're gonna talk about your podcast towards the end of the show. We're gonna talk about the resellings, and I told Jimmy I would give him a little segment to talk about your guys' social media and whatever he wants to talk about, his YouTube channel and his podcast. So so that's Ken. Okay, cool. So so he said he loves video game sellers. They just kind of pop in and breeze out and miss all the good stuff that he's looking for.
Yep. I just seem to remember one sale where the guy walked up, asked for video games, and they said no. And at the same time, my wife Sonia was over there looking at some Christmas stockings, but they were all Looney Tunes characters like Taz, Tweety Bird, Sylvester Cat, and they were $1 each. And we sold those things for $30 a pop, And like that guy just walked in and out, asked for video games, and we scooped up these valuable Christmas decorations,
That's true, Greg. Keeps to look for 4 hoarder houses and take time to dig. Yes, that's true. And again, Mike Flippin' Goodies is in the chat, and Mike, to me, Mike is like the estate sale expert. And again, talking about building relationships, Mike has relationships with all these different estate sale companies, and he knows the ones that are competitive. He knows the ones that'll work with them, and he actually gets like the cherry pick a lot of times. We'll say, hey, Mike, we got a bunch of stuff, and the sale starts, Friday or Thursday, but we're going to be here, Tuesday and Wednesday pricing things. Why don't you come over, Wednesday evening or whatever, and we'll get some stuff. Because sometimes he shows up and everything's like all bundled in a pile for him. Mike, this is this is what you want, here, make us an offer on it.
Yeah.
So again, guys, I mean, take advantage of your opportunities, and again, try to network. I mean, even if it's like something as simple as going to thrift stores. Randy is in my chat, a moderator, and he's got a very successful, business, reselling plus another business where he sells, old-fashioned candies, coffees, and teas and whatnot. He does very, 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 very well, and he does simple. He picks stuff up in the ports up in New York, and he always goes and he gets donuts, and he saves himself hours and hours of time. Yep. He comes in with the donuts, and all the union workers, they'll work through like their breaks and stuff to take care of him because she's bringing them donuts.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's
and his time is very valuable. So for him to sit 3-4 hours for them to give him his product, again, he maybe I don't know what donuts are, and everything else, everything else is going up, but maybe spend $25, $30, $40 on donuts. But his time is so valuable when he jumps right pretty much to the front of the line.
Yep, I have a estate sale friend that runs a company that we're friends. We talk, and he'll give me some good prices.
Okay. Once you answer this question, I want to get a little bit into your eBay business, and we'll get back into the toy business. Can you see this here?
Yeah,
Find anything?
you find any at the ARC thrift stores when they lived here. They always found good stuff at the one off of West Colfax. I like the ARC. I go there. I don't go there as often because the thrift store by my house, that's actually even more local thrift store. It's a huge thrift store, and I do amazing there. So I don't like. I went today and I filled up 3 bags.
Wow.
Yeah, and the video, that's one of my that I just put out today is about. So I go to ARC and I've had success there. One of my best buys ever came from ARC, a whole collection of anime toys. So yes, I'll go there and I do good there, but I don't go there enough. I don't make it there often because between yard sales and I love estate sales, we talked about. Probably my favorite is estate sales. I love estate sales. So thrifting is third on my list. So I don't make it there a lot, but I know about ARC and I know that you can do really good there.
Well, like Greg said, and that's a pro tip. Dig. Look underneath tables. Look. I mean, sometimes closets are blocked off, but I mean,
Right.
you got to dig and
And
forage and see if there's anything hidden.
I got a secret weapon. My wife is great at that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she loves it. She'll be digging under tables.
She loves digging for that buried treasure.
It's almost like she comes down and she's like, "Look what I found."
Hey, if you got a team, it's so much better, right?
Yes, and she
Absolutely.
has a full-time job, but on the weekends I make sure to try to get her to an estate sale where she gets to dig, and she loves it.
How is, like you mentioned that you go to Walmart and I guess you do some RA. I have a heck of a time trying to find a RA here. In fact, I found some. I try to call it my cash pile. Try to be positive. I don't want to call it the death pile, but I found some stuff that I meant to list, and it's like, oh shoot, I put this aside to list this, and something I found that at retail arbitrage at Walmart.
I actually don't do a lot of it. The one time I was walking through there, I always check the clearance aisle, but I don't ever have a lot of luck.
Right.
But she was pricing them down as I was there, and she had carts full of these model kits. I was like, "What are you pricing those at?" She's like, $5. I was like, "Let me take." I bought $200 worth. So,
Okay.
um,
Well, I'm speaking to a pro, so I'm just throwing this out there for the people that maybe some newer resellers.
Yeah.
You guys all should know. Again, I know people in the chat. I'm not I'm preaching to the choir, so to speak. But I just want to make it aware to the newer sellers. Make sure you download the Walmart app because every store is different, and a lot of times the price on the shelf, again, especially in clearance section, is not the actual price. So you want to scan it. You want to update your Walmart app before you scan the item, so you make sure you get the proper price.
Yeah. My thought on RA is this. Again, I always say that I always want to make sure these are my experiences that I'm talking about. I know people make a ton of money on RA. I don't enjoy the sourcing. I don't like the hunt at a store. That hunt isn't fun for me.
Right.
Looking at BrickSeek and trying to get to the store and trying to find the item on.
Speak
For
to
me,
other
that's not
resellers
fun.
there, and hopefully they have it. It's not in the back warehouse. And
I almost feel like I'm back to working for another company, punching a clock. So I told myself, you know what? You don't enjoy it. Just be happy selling stuff on eBay, finding rare items, finding treasures like you do. And, you don't have to do that. You don't have to expand to that. You can do good right here. So I'm not saying don't do it because there's people that have fun doing it. There's a lot of good YouTube videos about it, and people make a lot of good money. It's just not for me.
yeah, Craig's saying he loves estate sales. That he'd starve if he relied on thrift stores in the Chicago area.
Right.
Thrift stores are terrible here, Greg. I mean, just terrible, terrible, terrible. And again, I get frustrated. I guess more like jealousy. And I see some people come over from Philadelphia and whatnot, and they come over to South Jersey and they find stuff like, I never find that stuff over here. They'll go to estate sales, they'll go to yard sales, they'll go to thrift stores.
Yeah.
And I really think it's kind of like, if you're not out there, you're not going to find it. So, some of these people, they'll hit thrift stores 3-4 days a week. And again, you have opportunities with estate sales, and I understand. I think you're right. I think there's, at least in my areas, more opportunities with estate sales. But what I found too is if you don't hit the estate sale on the first day, a lot of times you're missing all the good stuff. I mean, I went to a hoarder reseller estate sale, and I thought it was the first day of the sale, and it ended up being the second day of the sale. So 99% of the good stuff was already picked through when I got there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so like you get to know things, like you said. Is it am I lucky to have the thrift I have here? Yes. I mean, do they price stuff high as well? They do. But they also price a lot of stuff fair or low. But it is part of being a reseller is finding that item that they missed on, because they do miss, and it does happen at estate sales, at thrift stores, at yard sales. They, when I say miss, they just didn't do the research right. They didn't look it up. They don't know what it's worth, and they priced it way too low. And could you rely on that for an income? No, but it's also part of this game is finding those items that they.
You got to find that, so to speak, buried treasure. Like I said, sometimes they miss things. Sometimes they're not familiar. I mean,
that's the excitement of it. From when you find that I remember yard sale where this lady had priced stuff, everything priced high. But one item, a pair of vintage Converse made in the USA that I bought for $2, and I sold them for $110 because she just thought they were regular Converse.
And they were vintage.
And that sale sticks out of my head because I remember, like, literally, I was just like, oh my gosh, everything is priced retail or higher. It's just like, let's get out of here. But I just happened to look at those Converse, and if you look on the heel, and if it says on the back of the heel, made in the USA, money. And I saw that made in the USA. I said, how much for the shoes? She said $2. I was like, here's your $2. I'm out. I'm gone.
Yeah, and it's funny, and it kind of brings back memories to me. And we didn't call them Bobos, but back in the day, that's and I tell people the story about my mother and my growing up. My father was early onset Parkinson's, and he was ill, and my mother was like a bargain hunter. So back in the days, I used to get. Now they, I guess back in the 80s or 70s, or they called them Bobos. But I used to get like the knockoff brands, And then I was all excited when I got the Chuck Taylor Converse and I had the kid. Yeah. Then when I went up to leather, I was like, oh my God, I got leather Converse.
Adam had living large. Extra stride that day. He was like,
Adam's living large with the leather Converse.
little extra stride in his step that day.
Exactly. I'm styling and profiling,
Yeah, I know the feeling.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your eBay platform and how you run your store, and then we're going to get we're going to really dig in deep into the toys, the modern versus the vintage toys. We talked a little bit about your sourcing, how you run your store. Like I said, you kind of have a system, but do you run sales at all? How do you run your store? Do you run promos, promoted listings?
Look, I always say that eBay is all about how you want to do it yourself. I'm a very positive. I'm a positive approach to everything I do on there. Mm-hmm. I call it optimizing my store. That's my name for it. I've given some of my local friends the optimization speech. I do it all, and to each their own. When I say when I say this, because not everybody does it the same way.
Correct.
I one day handling, free returns, promoted. And what's the other one that's important? Oh, and I run a sale all the time. And I do that's, and at the end of the day, when I look at my numbers, because I don't look at individual sales anymore. I'm to the point where I look at my month in and month out, and it's making Sonia happy. My wife is very happy with those numbers, and the bank account's happy with it. So it works for me going for the optimization of it all. So I call it, I'm positive, if I get a return, I don't dwell on it. I go list more that day. I call it selling through it. I got a return. I offer free returns, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna list 10 more today to make up for the cost of that return. So it's a really positive based system that I use, and I pedal to the metal sales and great customer service, nice to every single customer, even if they're being a pain in the butt. I might be typing angerly while I'm replying to them.
When you're replying,
it's
right?
A nice message. So that's how I do it, man. I'm very positive, very,
Well, like I said, I live by myself, so I might pepper out loud a few choice words before I respond. But get it out of your system before you respond to the.
Sonia's heard me go, murder, this seller, blah, blah, blah. And then I look at the message I sent them. Isn't it so nice? So yeah, I mean, it's you have to be able to vent it. You're right. But I don't vent it to the customer. It happens. I talk to Sonia about it. I'll tell some of my friends that resell, I'll talk to them about it. So yeah, but
And something I always say too is under promise and over deliver. So again, if you grade something as good quality and it's actually very good, and that could be clothing, it can be toys, it could be whatever.
yep.
If you over deliver and the customer's like, wow, this guy said this toy was only in good condition, it's actually in very good condition,
Yeah.
and the price is competitive. It's what I wanted. It's the package
Yep.
is in great shape. And again, you get the reviews, you get the positive feedback, and hopefully they follow your store and maybe to buy some more things from you.
Such a great point. Everyone listen to what he just said. This is very important. Never try to get over on a buyer and sell something on eBay. You're not going to get over on them. Describe it correctly. If there's something wrong with it, notate it. Don't try to, oh, well, they might not notice. And I know most people know this, but don't ever try to do that. It's not worth it, and you're just going to give yourself a headache.
And especially, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. What you said. No, that, and so I just
and especially for newer resellers, and I had a return, and I've told the story a couple times on this channel. Basically, I was back in the day. Everyone was saying, "Oh, sell women's jeans, sell women's jeans, sell men's jeans," but I had difficulty finding men's jeans. So I shipped something overseas, and I shipped it to a country that I should have known better to ship. But I was trying to get it set up through the global shipping program through eBay, and it got all screwed up, and I was running behind on my shipping, and I shipped it direct, and the guy said it was altered, and it wasn't altered. So I ended up losing like $30, $40, and believe me, I was really upset. I was new to reselling, but again, in the big scheme of things, you're running basically a business, so it's a cost of doing business. Returns are a part of your business. It stinks, it sucks, but it happens. So you just, like you said, vent a little bit, but don't respond to the customer that way. Try to contact eBay if you can. You and I were both at eBay Open, so I'm assuming you still probably have concierge service.
The good old concierge. And
hopefully you get U.S. based customer service.
Yes,
hopefully.
I do. They love me down there because I'm so nice to them too. I said, I'm always nice when it comes to, because I did that customer service for a while. I learned a lot of techniques.
Yeah. So and I'll say sometimes, and I know I get frustrated sometimes, and again, it's not the customer service reps, fault.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's the company policy; they can't do it. So we might be upset with eBay the way they do things, but like you said, the person is just following the script, and Randy and I 100%. Try to talk offline occasionally. We talked the other day, and talking about eBay customer service and whatnot, and a lot of times you'll get overseas, and he's loving Walmart, and Mike Flipping Goodies is loving Walmart. But again, they used to have really good customer service. It was U.S. based, because now it's overseas based.
Yeah.
So it's these big companies. That's what they do. They sub out this customer service overseas, and it's difficult sometimes.
It's tough for sure. Yeah, you're right though. Like, you just have, like, for me, if you're angry, then you get them angry, and then it never turns out good, in my opinion. And
if you the old saying, you get more with honey than vinegar, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're going to blast the customer service rep, they're not going to be nice to you. They're just going to say,
they're mad.
Forget this guy. He's nasty. He's angry. I don't have to do anything for him. We're just going to say, no, I can't help him.
So me being the rep, when I was the rep, when I worked for that company as a rep, I was always nice. I learned to be nice, because at the end of the day, I had to do that for 8 hours a day. And at the end of that day, I would go home in a better mood than if I had arguments with customers all day.
Mike, you're saying Walmart is USA support. Randy told me he got overseas support, so maybe you were just fortunate. But and I know you talk with Randy quite a bit. So Randy and I were talking was the day before yesterday, I believe, and he got overseas support, and it was really, really difficult. So. Anyway, and again, I think sometimes with eBay, it's a luck of the draw. Although, like I said, you and I do have concierge service, so hopefully we get US based.
At the end of all that I just said, that's the beautiful thing about eBay to me, is you don't have to do it the way I do it. Everybody can do it the way they want to do it and what works for them. This just happens to work for me.
Right. Okay. Just kind of touch on a couple other things on eBay, and I want to get into the toy portion of the show. You said you had problems with one of your YouTube videos. You had problems with the tracking uploading on your new card shipping labels on eBay. Why don't you just touch on that a little bit?
And I definitely will. And it's something that I want. I again, even if you watch the video, I'm not very negative. I just want to inform people. and after having conversations with eBay and the post office, so my thought on it was they offered a service to everybody. It's not my problem to make. It's not my job to figure out how the service works. It's not
Right.
my job to make it work, to jump through hoops to get it to work. So they offered where if you sold cards, and if a card, like a collectible card, like a sports card or a Pokemon card or a
Right.
Magic the Gathering card, if it was worth less than $20, you could use their new. They had a new shipping program where you would only pay like 58 cents for the shipping on that card. The problem was it didn't have a barcode for the carrier to scan. So my research showed me that the carrier was not scanning it was being scanned by the machines in the back. And so in my breakdown of my video, I had about 15 cards that had left my house over a month ago, and they never finished their tracking. Their tracking never finished.
Right.
And so it was affecting my top rated because the carrier scan never showed delivered. Sometimes it was never scanned at all. And so it started, my top rated I was in trouble on the verge of losing my top rated.
Right. You're getting dings or demerits, yeah.
So I called eBay, and their thing was, we won't do anything until you lose top rated. So it was frustrating. Yeah. And so I just stopped using the program.
Right.
I forget the name of the program, and they still have it to this day. And I still get comments on that video that it's still not working great. So my warning was, if you're going to sell cards like that, maybe open a different account, a different eBay store to do that, because you have the possibility of losing top rated because of that.
Yeah, I saw Dan and Demand comment on your video that's what he did. He created a separate store for the cards.
So it's frustrating. I don't do a lot of cards. I bought a Pokemon collection, and I was selling 5-6 cards a day at $2-3. So it was nice, but I didn't need it, and so I just stopped doing it. And again, like I said, to this day, I still think they're having the biggest issue that became of it was I had 2 people. The tracking showed they never got their card. I can't confirm if they did or they didn't. eBay forced me to give them a refund because their program didn't work. Because the tracking showed it was never delivered. I had to give them a refund. It was like...
Now, did they refund you as well?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did they refund you as well, or just the
No,
customer?
because I had to try to work with the post office to find out on this lost package that never got scanned because they weren't, and that's when the conversation started. Well, we don't actually scan it. Our carrier doesn't scan it. It gets scanned by the machine in the back. So then I had to give refunds on items that showed not delivered. So yeah, that's when I had put the video out.
I'm just gonna pop in. Mike, I apologize when I misunderstood what Randy was saying to me. I thought he was talking about customer support on the phone. Apparently, it was just the email. One was great to ship stuff in, burn it up or lose it, and they pay you full sale price back up. Yeah, I mean that's my understanding. I mean, obviously talking to you and talking to Randy, you guys really kind of love Walmart, and they're much more customer centric than eBay is, and talking about Poshmark, we had Posh on My Purpose last week, and she was saying again, Posh is very supportive of the sellers. 99% of the time they'll support the seller, yep. Or if they refund something, they'll refund both the seller and the buyer. Yeah, typically. Yep. So, okay, we're gonna get into the toys now. Why don't we get into the toys a little bit? All right. You were telling me that you're known as the toy guy, and even though you're pretty knowledgeable about toys, you're not the be all and end all, but you're very very knowledgeable about toys. Yep. And you said people are overlooking the value of modern toys as opposed to the vintage toys, and you showed me a couple things in our little right before the show. Right. And you scanned a couple things. Why don't you get into like the difference between selling vintage toys and modern toys, or their opportunities out there?
So to me, the biggest difference between modern toys and vintage toys is there's a lot of modern toys to be bought at yard sales, estate sales, thrift stores, and they're not hard to find. Where vintage toys, which what most people feel like they probably have to look for, are very hard to find. I mean, and if you do find them, they're usually priced to the current market. So to me, that's the biggest difference is the amount of, accessible, and then the accessibility of, the newer toys, and then, or availability, and then how hard it is to find older toys. So it makes it easier to flip the newer toys because they're easier to find. I find them on Facebook Marketplace. I find them in thrift stores. I find them at yard sales. I find them at estate sales all the time. I mean, my shelves are full of more modern toys that are worth good money.
Yeah, the last sale I went to that had a lot of modern toys. Unfortunately, it was the son. I guess he was probably in his 10, 12 years old, and the mother went on eBay for all the prices. And it was actually like, it was literally like a block from my house.
Right,
so I said, I gotta be honest with you. I said, I'm basically retired. I have some health issues, and I'm looking for things that I can resell. And I said, I wish you well. I said, but everything you have is basically eBay prices or higher. I said, I wish you guys well. I said, but I can't even buy anything here. I don't even want to offer your price because I can't get anything here and I can't make any money. So, but again, I wish you well, but it is what it is one of my favorite sayings,
Yeah. So I'll give you an example of something that I just recently sold. I bought a How to Train Your Dragon collection off of Facebook Marketplace for $25. There was well over 18 figures in that box from the movie How to Train Your Dragon from around 2012,
okay,
I believe. So not vintage, only 10 years old. And this dragon was in that box. And I sold it for $200. This dragon right here, he was about the size of this airplane right here.
Okay. And you sold it for $200.
$200.
And what was your cost again?
I paid $25 for the entire collection.
For the whole collection, okay.
And then if I go, this was in that collection as well. Just two examples of modern toys that sold very well for me. This dragon was in there as well.
Okay.
And it sold for $110.
Oof.
So
you over $300. I mean, obviously there's fees involved and shipping involved, but whatnot.
Yeah.
You almost tenfold your money just from those two items.
Yep, and there was a couple other ones that sold for around the $100 range as well.
Right. Ken is asking is what do you consider to be vintage and or modern as far as
I go by the 20-year. I mean, from what I've been
20 years.
20 years is what I know. If that's wrong, I learned wrong, but 20 years is kind of the number that I've gone by.
Right. Greg said, again, it's funny we're talking about Posh, and we have Lisette here in the chat, or my guest last week. Or Lisette, your ears were probably ringing. We're just talking about talking about Poshmark, yep, and how they support the sellers. And here, Greg, the page picker. He said Posh is killing it. Killing is in a sentence here. I'm inverting my words. With TV ads, wish eBay would run more ads. Only way to grow younger generations. It's funny, Greg. I talk about that sometimes on my show, and I hear ads for eBay Motors. I don't ever hear ads for regular eBay.
Yeah, you're right. I've heard the eBay Motor ones recently as well. Yeah.
And then Phoenix Flipper says he hasn't ever found any How to Train Your Dragon toys. He's been looking though.
What's up, Matt? I actually met Matt when I was in Arizona. Yeah.
Okay.
We talked quite a bit. Yeah, he was there when I found a pretty good toy haul as well when I was in Arizona.
Okay, so you're finding things you mentioned earlier. You find things on Facebook Marketplace, and
yep.
How do you again? You said you have somewhat out of a set schedule. Do you go there at certain times a day and look for things, and or just happen when you're thinking about it? It's like, oh, I got to look at Facebook Marketplace.
I probably check it 20 times a day. It's getting definitely more difficult to, my success rate is very low. I probably look at 100 listings before I find one that I'll even consider buying. So, but it's, when you do hit, like I just recently bought these Power Rangers. This is another example of a modern toy. These were new in the package. I paid $10 a piece for them. I bought 10 of them for $100. This one right here alone, new in the package, is worth about $60 for just one of the 10.
And you had 10, you paid 100 for, right.
Sorry?
I said, you paid $100, you got 10 of them.
Yeah, yeah.
He said they average in about $60 resale a piece.
Yep, yeah. So that and that's where I got those dragons off of Facebook. So when it does hit, it's worth it. For me. I do pretty good. So when I do get that hit on Facebook, and around here, when you get it, you better be ready to go. Like they're like, come and get it. And okay, I'm on my way.
Well, that's the thing too. And I mean, they get 100 messages and they don't want to hear that. Is it still available? Still is available? Still available? It's like you said, when you find out they have it, you got to jump on it. And that again, that's an advantage of being a full-time reseller.
Yes.
And other people work, doing it part-time, but sometimes your job permits you to chase down these things. And I know Harry, Humstone, he'll go out and he'll works at the hospital of all places, and I'll say, I got to go out and pick this up. And if he has coverage, I mean, he works in the hospital, but he has backup, that can cover for him. He'll run out for half an hour, 25 minutes, run, pick stuff up, and come back to work. But he has the opportunity. But again, if you're a full-time reseller, you can kind of work around those schedules, and you kind of
it's kind of funny. Like my wife will be like, I just got home, where are you? And I'm like, I had to meet somebody off of Facebook. What do you mean? No, I'm up north. I went up here to buy a video game system.
Here's a perfect example. I lost out on a ton of Facebook deals because of work. Yeah.
Ever since they added the shipping on there,
well, that's the thing too.
It's changed.
Again, that's the opportunities, but again, there's a lot more competition.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you sold the toys that you have handy, right?
Yeah.
What again? And you would also mention in one of your videos, you had an issue with was the Pokemon collection, right? There was some fakes and things, and again, if we're out and about, sourcing, is there anything we should be looking for? Again, I don't know much about Pokemon cards, but
it's hard because the fakes are very good. I actually got fooled, and I didn't look over that collection very well because it was priced well, and there were enough real ones in there for me to make money. But it's all about coloring. You can tell the difference. When I finally got them home and I put them together, the fake ones, usually the front is a little fake, like a little darker. It has a darker tint to it. Okay. And then the blue just doesn't look right. But the fakes are very good. So it's going to be hard to just explain to someone how to find it, because the fakes,
especially someone that doesn't really know, like myself, doesn't really know. So right.
Yeah, so if
I guess again, it's like with cost of acquisition. If you get it cheap enough, you take a shot.
Yes, right? I would say if you can find them for cheap, you can learn. You can learn a lot. But if you don't know, I don't recommend spending a lot on Pokemon cards until you take some time to watch some YouTube videos on how to ID a fake, and they're going to tell you the same thing I did. It's a lot about the coloring.
Okay.
Because the fakes are really good.
Mike's comment here, he says he has the Funko shop going out of business with $8K for 600 plus Funkos. PPG is more than 20K. Would you do it?
$8K. I would definitely try to talk them down. Funkos. Yeah, I mean, PPG is pretty accurate. I mean, that would be you could double your money on something like that. It's hard to say no, but Funkos are, some will sell quick and some will sit, like, I mean, that what's that average per unit? That means they're all going to be pretty good ones. You're not going to have any of the little $5 ones in there. So, I mean, if they're the right,
$10 a unit would be 6,000. So I guess that's roughly $14 a unit.
Yeah. Yep. You got to have, Matt made a good point. You have to have the capital, and I would still try to talk them down. You got to have the space, if you're that's where maybe Whatnot would be really good. I know we're not talking about Whatnot yet, but that's where I would be like, okay, I can sell the really, really good ones, because there's going to be some that are worth a lot of money that will go on eBay fast.
Right.
Based on those numbers I'm seeing right there. You can sell them
on ungated on Amazon.
Yeah, okay. Well then,
and sell them on Walmart.
Yeah, that's probably not the worst. Now, again, I don't know Amazon well. I did a little bit of it. If they ask you for a packing slip or whatever, right, like at that point, where are you at? And then
that's other issue.
Can that cause you problems? I don't know. I've heard stories, not from experience, It sounds like Mike knows quite a bit more about that than I do.
Right.
So if you got, it's not a bad. You can more than double your money. I would consider it. I would definitely put a lot of thought into it. Definitely want to see the condition. If they're all really mint condition, it's something I would. Funkos are scary though. Funkos, there's a lot of Funkos that aren't worth money.
Right. Right. And I guess a lot of the ones that are like the limited edition things, with Target or what, different places that have limited edition, and
Right. Or just the right
resellers are there
theme.
quickly. Right.
They're all in protectors. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like if you get the right theme, and it's again we're talking about the modern toys, but if it's a Funko from 2013, I think they've been around for about that long, maybe a little bit longer. If it's an older Funko that isn't, obviously maybe they didn't produce a lot of them or whatever. Again, that takes a lot of research, but it can be worth
Sure.
your while for sure.
So I guess, again, I'm probably speaking out of turn here, but I guess if you get them, Mike's willing to take chances. So like I said, if you get them inexpensively enough, it's probably worth, taking a shot at it. I mean, if he gets them maybe for, I don't know,
Especially if they're all maybe protectors. I mean, now you're getting a protector with each
that's
one either.
Cost too, right? The cost for a protector is X amount of dollars per unit, right?
They're easy to ship.
Right.
Yeah, it's not something I would have a problem doing.
Right.
If you the capital is the big thing, like Matt said.
Right.
If you got that,
right.
For me, could I do it? Yes. It would be something that me and my wife would sit down and talk about for a couple hours before we decide to make the deal.
Yeah, it's a big expenditure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. One we just touched on a little bit on Whatnot. Your thoughts on Whatnot?
My thoughts on Whatnot. I think it's definitely gonna be around. I don't think it's going away. I think from my experiences, I've had ups and downs. I'm not 100% happy with the results. That's for sure. I've had some sales that went really bad. I've had some sales that have gone really good. So, there's some, I've sold stuff that I've only got 50% of the value or less. And when I dipped into some of my better inventory, so did I make money? Yes, but it was kind of, mixed results. I think video games do really well, and my best sale was video games.
Okay.
And what I've said before, this whole shelf used to be video games, and it was all like video games that weren't the greatest titles. On eBay they're worth $5 to $10, and they weren't selling very fast. That shelf is now empty because of Whatnot, because I put all those on Whatnot, and I was getting close to eBay value on the games. So that was great. That was my best sale. Yeah, Matt bought some of those games for me.
Yeah.
So that was my best results on there. But then, some of my better sports hats that I tried to sell on there that are older vintage hats.
Right.
It was terrible. Like,
you didn't do well. No.
Yeah. So, and I was, and I had issues that day. Like I've had connection issues with them. They've been working out a lot of glitches, and that can affect your sale if the system isn't working great. So there's things they're working out.
I know enough. I always say that a lot of times. I know enough to be dangerous, I guess, about Whatnot. But my understanding is there's some workarounds where you can actually use your PC now and not just your mobile device.
Yeah. They've integrated the PC into the system. That's another thing that you talked about. Like you have to get approved to sell on Whatnot. You can't just go over there and sell. I had a little interview. They looked at my social media. They asked about my inventory. So after that they brought me aboard. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. I think I'll say this: you have to put in the work there. You can't just go on there and be successful if you're not doing regular sales. I know guys. Aughts Antique comes to mind. He does sales all the time. He doesn't have a big social media presence, and he's doing sales all the time, and he's selling a ton of stuff. And he'll call it an estate sale, and it's just stuff decor, it's plates, it's you name it that you can find in an estate sale. He's selling it, and he has a very successful. But he put in the work. He runs multiple sales every week.
Okay.
and that can be time consuming, and it can be a lot of work.
And then there's shipping, and then again, I guess typically you're working at smaller margins, like you said. Well, you got eBay prices, but if you're working on smaller margins, then again, you have to
Yep.
get the stuff together, do the show, package it, ship it,
and you have to keep track. Like you have to keep track because you have to find a way that works for you to keep track of who's buying what or what, because if you just say like item number 1, well, then you better make sure you keep that as item, because some people won't put a good description. They'll just show the item and then it says item number 1. Well, on the back end, they better keep track of that item number 1, because when they get the shipping slip, it's going to say item number 1. It's not going to, magically put in Funko Pop number 438. It's just going to say item number 1, and you better know what item number 1 was. So there's little challenges like that you have to figure out. There was some. Oh, and then so you better be ready to ship, because let's say you have a big sale, you sell 150 items, you could potentially have 30 different buyers, 40, 50 different buyers. That's 50 different boxes going out the door that day.
Yeah, that's a lot of packing and shipping.
So and I have friends, I've seen their pictures. They're like,
plus you have a little car, right? You have a little two-door car, so you don't have an SUV or a truck, right?
Be prepared to ship a lot if you're going to have auctions. And the other thing that I noticed pretty quick was if you get $1, like if you sold something for $1, and it does happen on Whatnot, you're only getting like 56 cents after fees and all that stuff. Wow. So you'll see most people have gone away from starting at $1.
I was going to say there must be a workaround, right? You don't have to start at $1.
You don't have to. So most people are starting at 2 or 3 now, because you get that one person that bought one thing for $1. Well, guess what? You lost your 56 cents in the box because it's probably first class.
Cost you more than that, right?
Slap on that box. So there's things that you learn.
And then you have your boxes. You have to buy, like I said, you have to buy the box. You have to buy the packing tape, right?
Yeah. You're actually really, really hoping that people buy multiple items and it gets bumped to priority. Then you can use your free priority boxes.
Right.
So you're actually like, please buy 3 or 4 things so it goes to priority.
Absolutely.
But it's fun. It's a lot of fun doing an auction.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you a couple more things, and then I want to open up. Anybody has any questions for Jimmy while we have him on? Any questions about toys? And I'm just going to touch real quickly, guys, and on my side of this. Again, as I tell you guys, I'm not monetized on YouTube, so whatever you guys can do to help, I would appreciate it. Again, there's time involved, there's costs involved. As you know, I have to pay for subscriptions. And again, I have PayPal, Buy Me Coffee, which you've seen scrolling on the bottom of the screen. So if you guys are getting any kind of value, please consider helping me out with that. And I also have Randy's website in the description below, where Randy had mentioned earlier sells coffee, tea, spices, and old-fashioned candies as well. And if you guys register on Randy's site and you buy anything from Randy, when you register, you just put AE next to your name when you register, and Randy is kind enough to pay me a subscription commission. I can't talk today. I drink a lot of water. I know I can't talk today, but
anyway, it happens to the best of us.
Talking about subscribing to the channel, I got that on my mind too, right? Okay, so are there any questions for Jimmy about toys? And then if not, I'm going to give take some time to load, and then we're going to have Jimmy talk about his social media. He does YouTube, he does Instagram, he's just started a podcast. So let's see if the any questions.
I'll answer a question that came through earlier from Kristen Rule Squirrel.
Sure.
I don't know if she's still here, but Kristen, if you are my favorite toy in my collection back here, I'm not going to take it down, but right here, it's an Optimus Prime, but it's branded Pepsi, so it's like a Transformer.
Okay.
And it's still new in the package, and he's hauling a Pepsi. It's a truck, but you can put your Pepsi bottle on it. So you could literally, if you took it out of the box, you could have Optimus Prime holding your Pepsi bottle. So that's because I love Transformers. That's my favorite toy in my collection back there.
Okay. And here's a question there you go. Matt.
So when I was in Phoenix with Matt, or the Phoenix area, and that video's out there too.
Okay.
He actually saw the box. He's like, and we talked about it. He was cool enough to say, you know more about it, you grab it. Vintage Polly Pocket from the 90s. they're littler toys. They're like really this small little dolls.
Okay. Wow.
And I bought
Okay.
again $25 is my magic number. I bought the whole box. Matt was there with me. I bought the whole box of them for $25, and we're down to a couple pieces left. They're little like carry sets that you open it up and the little figures are in there, and they have like swings or whatever.
Okay. Okay.
They sold on average for about $70 per set, and I probably had, what would you say, Matt, 15 sets in there?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
So over $1,000. Wow.
Yeah, it
And
was.
you paid $25.
Yes, for the whole box.
So obviously, guys, there's a lot of money in toys, especially if you know what you're doing.
Shout out to my wife Sonia, because she sorted through theirs and did the research and put all the little dolls with the sets they went with. Yeah, he said at least 15 sets in there. It was.
Wow.
I saw, and as I said, Polly Pocket on the box, and I was like, "Give me that box."
There's a question for you. What's the one toy you have to have for your collection?
The one toy I still don't have that I want to get. Well, I should say I have it, but I don't have the one I want. This guy right here. This is Jetfire. It was my favorite toy as a kid. This jet right here.
Okay.
Now this one, his arm is broken. His wings are broken.
Oh no.
He's all stained up. He actually was a throw-in and a buy that I bought. And so when I got it, I was like, "Oh, Jetfire!" Like it's called a Generation 1 Jetfire. And I got it. I pulled it out. I was like, "Oh, his arm's broken, his wings broken." But one day I shall have a Generation 1 Jetfire, because that, like, I remember opening that toy on Christmas morning when I was a kid, and it was my favorite toy. Close second is a Lions Voltron.
Well, you're quite a bit younger than me. I don't remember a lot of these toys. I go back like the Tonka trucks and GI Joes.
You remember Major Matt Mason?
No.
Another Facebook buy from I believe he might have been 60s, Major Matt Mason, but he was probably
that was me, 60s and early 70s when I went. Yeah.
I bought a collection of that was also I paid $80 for that collection, but I probably made $600 off that collection.
Right. Matt found a Scotty Cameroon putter. Yeah. Mike Flippin' Goody sells a ton of golf clubs, so I mean that's good money in that.
I was there when you found that. Yeah,
right.
DuPage, that's right. Bluebird. Yep. Made by, I think I probably have a set over here. I just don't know where it's at. There's a couple left, but I sold most of them.
All right. Hello. Thanks for joining us, Pin Game. Appreciate you popping in from Anaheim, California, the home of Disneyland. Okay. So I told you we'll give you an opportunity to talk about what's going on in your social media, your channel. I'm going to put you on full screen and want you to tell the people about your YouTube channel, your podcast, your new podcast, and whatever else you want to share.
So I'm pretty sure Adam has it linked down below. My YouTube channel is Old School Flips. I just got over 2,000 subs on there, so I've been slowly working my way up, trying to put out a video every week. Don't have a lot of footage right now, so it's all about getting that footage. I think Adam knows that's probably one of the biggest struggles is finding the footage and organizing it and then making a video. But I'm trying to put out a video every week. I'm really focusing back on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm doing pretty good on there. And TikTok is my best platform. Maybe not my favorite because some of the people on there are brutal, let's just be honest. But I'm doing pretty good on TikToks. It's all those platforms are Old School Flips right here. And then I do want to talk about, guys, I have a fun new podcast out. It's called the Reseller Clickbait Podcast. We just put out our first episode today. It's also on YouTube. The audio stuff will be linked to that. And it's just a fun time. Me and Ken, SSK Promo, are having a blast joking around with each other. We talk about stuff that we see on YouTube from other reseller YouTubers, the finds that they're finding, and then similar experiences that we had with how that sale went for them. And we're joking around. We love to have fun and joke. Ken is an awesome guy. He's in the chat, SSK Promo. We would really love if you guys just gave us a chance, listen to it. I think you'll get a good laugh out of it. We definitely did. I'm going to do like little promo videos in between the actual episodes. Again, it's called Reseller Clickbait Podcast. And what's funny about it is we were talking is like, man, we need to have good thumbnails, right? Like we need to have really, really good thumbnails. And I was like, let's just call it clickbait, and then all of our thumbnails can be the most ridiculous clickbait thumbnails ever,
There you
and
go.
we have the right to do that because we named our show clickbait.
There you go. That's a workaround.
I got that's good.
Is it
It's
linked on
not
your YouTube
linked.
channel?
It is not. I need to do that.
Okay, you need to
I'm
do it.
not the best at this stuff, so. But yeah,
And you can have it on, you can put it on your Instagram with the link tree and
it's
have it
on
on
my
your link
Instagram
tree.
and it's on my link tree. So if you go to
Okay.
my Instagram, you can find
Yeah,
it.
the Instagram link is in the description, guys. So you can click on the Instagram link for
Okay, yeah.
Jimmy, and then you'll see the podcast is on his link tree.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay.
Just again, couple older guys having fun, joking around, making fun of each other a little bit, poking fun, and on our experiences out there reselling.
Okay, just real quickly, Jimmy wants to know about your Harley jacket. Did you sell that?
Yeah, I did. I think I got $100 for that Harley jacket.
Okay, cool. And you just touch on really quickly, guys. And again, make sure you can check out Jimmy's channel and subscribe again to his podcast, subscribe to his YouTube channel. But just mention real quickly, you had a thing with a Michael Jordan rookie card, and that was kind of sort of like a clickbaity title, I guess, right? So what happened with the Michael Jordan rookie card?
So by the way, that video, it's funny that me and you talked about it,
Right.
and I woke up yesterday morning and that video went like, just for me and where I'm at, it just went crazy. Like, it had 1,000 views yesterday. For me, that's big.
1,000 views yesterday
In one day for me. So
Holy
like
cow.
that video is almost a year old. And I woke up
Right.
yesterday morning and I was like, oh, what's going on with YouTube? And you can see on this simple graph right here, like, it just, those are my views.
Wow. Okay.
And like this is the norm right here for me.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, boom, 50 an hour. Then those are hour increments. And you can see I had 1,200 views in the last 48 hours.
Wow, that's insane.
So that's that video that we're talking about, the Michael Jordan.
So what was the deal with that? I mean, obviously, guys, you can go watch the video on Jimmy's channel, but what's like the?
So I got there and I opened
version.
up this binder, and there it is, the Michael Jordan rookie, sitting with some cards from the 90s. So red flag right there because his rookie's from the 80s.
Right.
So I pick it up and I was like, man, what are the chances that this is real? And then I see another Michael Jordan rookie and another, and I'm like, oh.
Uh-oh.
So real quick, I found out that
Ruh-roh.
they're not fakes. They're just
reproductions,
or whatever.
reprints. Yeah.
And I didn't even look at what they were worth as I don't know a lot about sports cards. I know enough to get in trouble. So like I knew, and then I actually have a John Elway rookie, my favorite player of all time, right here. So I know this card very well.
Right.
Well, I also saw a couple of these, and this, in really good condition. That's $100+ card. If it's it's $1,000 card, whatever.
Is that one graded?
No, it's not. It's off centered, so I won't grade it.
Okay.
So I looked at the back, and I saw on the card that was there that was also a reproduction card too. I could tell by the back because I know this card very well.
Gotcha.
And so 2 and 2 together, and actually, small conversation with the guy. They weren't real cards, but it worked out really good for my video. I mean,
yeah.
At the end of the day, they were still there, and they still shocked me. I was still like, my heart skipped a beat. I'm not gonna lie, because that's a game changer card. That's my wife can now be a full-time reseller card. The amount that would sell for. So my heart skipped a beat for a second when I saw it, and then I found out pretty quick that it was not an actual Jordan rookie, but it still made for fun. Again, my videos are yard. Now I'm moving towards yard sales. Watch me source. I used to do what sold. I moved away from that, and now my channel's about sourcing.
Right, source with me, or or yard sales,
thrifting.
Yeah, the people enjoy that, and that's a good way to learn too. And like I tell you guys too, and again, guys, if you're new to my channel, I have back in the day, I named this channel, but I named the series of interviews, Reselling Rhythms. and I have a playlist where I put all these interviews in that Reselling Rhythms playlist. So I tell people, Jimmy has a podcast now. You can play these like podcasts, and then what I say is, while you're listening or whatever, you do me the favor. I need the watch hours. You can listen to it, and then like Jimmy's saying he's doing, thrift with me or yard sale with me. If you hear something interesting, it's like maybe Jimmy's talking about a toy or something, or one of my interviews is talking about something you're interested in. You can just stop momentarily and maybe watch the screen and pay attention to it. So again, that's kind of a win-win for both of us.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. So guys, again, I always say time is your most valuable asset. So I'd like to thank Jimmy for his time, and also those of you that are here for the live and watching the replay. Just remind you guys, if you haven't already, make sure you leave a thumbs up, subscribe, turn notifications on, and if you can leave a comment, that helps the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. So again, guys, I'm always looking for other resellers to be on the show. So if you know anybody or you yourself would like to be on the show, reach out to me. I'm AdamsExploits on social media, AdamsExploits@gmail.com. So it's a good way to get in touch with me. And again, I'm live every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. So guys, appreciate you being here. We shall see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Take care, guys.